Podcasting from Singapore and broadcasting all around the world. You're listening to the Ignite EdTech Podcast with Craig Kemp, taking the pulse of educators from all over the globe and bringing what you need every week. When you need answers, you go to the experts. Created by an educator, for educators, and streaming to the world. Now, over to your host, Craig Kemp.
Hello and welcome to episode 63 of the Ignite EdTech Podcast. I'm your host, Craig Kemp, and I'm thrilled to have your support. As most of you know, I continue to work with the incredibly talented Mark Quinn to improve the final audio quality of this podcast. He has his own podcast production studio that provides editing and mastering services to content creators. To connect with Mark, please see the details in the podcast notes below. A tool that has positively impacted the authentic and purposeful use of technology into classrooms and meeting rooms that I have worked in is Bloomz. Bloomz is a place where parents feel more connected than they ever have to their children's world, and teachers have more time than ever before because they have everything they need in one simple-to-use tool. Bloomz is a community, communication, and collaboration all in one. The Bloomz team say that every day they see hundreds of missed connections between teachers and parents, between reminders, meetings, sign-ups, events flying around in hard copy, digital and verbal formats. Parents can't keep up. Social networks and mobile phones have redefined how we connect. Facebook for friendships, LinkedIn for careers. It seems as if there was a social network for every aspect of life. That is where Bloomz steps in to support parent and teacher communication and to break down existing barriers that stop communication occurring. Bloomz is the only app that combines all aspects of the school and class communication, coordination, and behavior management in one powerful, easy-to-use platform. It blows me away that this amazing tool is now used by more than 6 million people globally in over 30,000 schools. I highly recommend that you take a look at Bloomz.com. The link is in the description below. Last week, we talked about parental engagement with EdTech. If you're interested in learning more, go back and listen to last week's episode. This week, I wanted to talk about homeschool communication and how you can connect and engage with your parents. Last week, we talked about how you support parents in their engagement and learning with technology. Adding to this, I want to broaden the scope and discussion on communication and share some ideas and advice on opening up lines of communication. While I'm no communication expert, I've seen many poor and strong systems and processes of communication in schools over my time. One of the things that's critical is going back to basics and building a culture of trust and clear lines of communication. A strategy comes next. Building a clear communication strategy that all stakeholders can see and understand is critical. Everyone needs to know how to communicate, where to find information, and how to access the required resources when they need it. Building a strategy of communication that outlines how teachers and leaders communicate, what tools to use for different types of communication, and then clearly relaying this to the parents and students makes for a fantastic starting point. It actually doesn't matter what's shared, as long as everyone sticks to the plan. Quality will come after you refine this form of communication. Some of the best systems I have seen are very, very basic. For example, leaders to teacher communication via email, teachers to teachers via WhatsApp, teachers to students via your school LMS, teachers to parents via your school LMS, and school to parents via weekly newsletters and email. Stick to what you know. Don't overcomplicate things. The fewer forms of communication, the better. So don't get stuck in the idea of needing to buy multiple different tools. Start from the basics and adjust to suit the unique context of your school. And be transparent along the way. You'll be surprised at how quickly the changes occur within the culture in your working environment. As always, I'd love to hear from you. Please reach out with your ideas and thoughts. Every week, I bring you a short interview with some of my edu heroes, an engaging learning experience with someone who makes a difference in education every day, with a particular focus or angle towards educational technology. This week, I had the pleasure of chatting with the incredible Yaritza Villalba. Let's have a listen to the chat. Today, I have the honor of speaking with Yaritza Villalba, who you may know is at Inc_YV on Twitter. Yaritza and I have been connected for a while now, and I'm constantly inspired by her work in education. Yaritza is the founding president of her own company, YV Educational Resources, which is a non-profit that serves as a partner in practice to all of those on the front lines of educating young minds. Yaritza has 10 years of experience in education and has held many roles with a powerful mission to support and help everyone that wants to learn and grow. Yaritza, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today. Are you ready to talk about education and technology integration?
Of course, Craig. Thanks for having me. I'm super, super stoked and ready.
It's an absolute pleasure. Let's go. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your current role and what inspires you to do what you do?
So actually, currently, as of today, I'm an assistant principal at a high school. Prior to today, I was a teacher actually for 11 years now as of February. I taught U.S. history and advanced placement U.S. history to overage and undercredited students. So those are students whose ages range from 16 to 21. We call them young adults. And I created curricula. So basically, I took any materials and textbooks and resources and I put them together into what the state said I had to teach and created different avenues for students to actually understand history through a critical lens.
That's so cool. And congratulations on the new role. That's amazing and super well deserved. What's your next big goal in your career? What do you want to do or achieve that you haven't been able to do yet?
Well, my next big role was the assistant principal position. But now I'm actually looking into district positions. The idea is that I want to impact as many students in classrooms as possible. That's always been my goal, just to try to figure out different ways that I can assist teachers in their own journeys. And that way it would just impact and trickle down to students. So definitely obtaining a job in a district and being able to just work with teachers all over the world.
It sounds super inspiring. Now, tell us about your business and what you do and who you work with.
My business is a nonprofit, and I just wanted to create different ways and different materials that teachers could actually get to know their students, teach different disciplines, and still be able to, have fun with it and not have to think about the financial aspects of it. And so with my nonprofit, I find ways to fund different workshops for teachers, whether if it's an ed tech workshop, whether if it's history or math or even gymnastics, and just give teachers materials on culturally responsive teaching and how can they best meet the needs, of their student populations.
That's amazing. It's such inspiring work that you're doing as well. And, I thank you, and I know many other people thank you for the work and tireless effort you put in to making a difference. Let's jump into some quick fire questions. The first thing that comes to your head, and a little bit of a why. What is your hashtag one word for 2021?
I would have to say that my hashtag one word for 2021 would be change. The reason for it is because within this pandemic, we've seen that, a lot of issues have been brought to light, but there's still some people that haven't changed. It hasn't hit them yet that this nation and even, across the world, we have to make, we have to just shed more light on the issues that exist. And we have to find ways to bring about equality in education and in society. So for me, my one word is definitely change. We've made some strides towards it, but I don't think that we've hit, that pivotal peak where it's just like we've absolutely changed what the world looks like and how we perceive people or groups of people.
I love it. And Yaritza, when you think about the work that you're doing with people every day, you must get some inspiration. What's your favorite EdTech book or resource?
So with the work that I do with Flipgrid, with the Yaritza series on culturally responsive teaching, I had to for sure think about the Merrills book, Flipgrid in the Interactive Class. Even though it's centered on elementary school students, to me, it's a powerful book because it displays the different ways in which, sorry about the Please, I'm in Brooklyn, New York. This always happens, but with the Merrills books, it literally tells you about real life activities that you could do for students. You know, sometimes you pick up books and you read the books and you're just like, wait, this has nothing to do with the students that I have in my class or even the educators that I meet. But the Merrills book, it's down to earth and it's things that you can really do. And another book is Tech with Heart by Stacey, Roshan. To me, that book, every single teacher, especially now, should read that book. It aligns with today. It aligns with integrating technology in your classroom and making students more aware of how to use technology.
I love that. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And all the resources you pointed to there are people and resources that, you know, we've talked about before on the show, and people who are incredibly powerful in this space. And I can't recommend those enough. What is your go-to EdTech tool, Yaritza, that the listeners need to try?
Okay, listeners, if you're already following me, then you know my answer to this. And if you're not following me, then I think you should know that the EdTech tool that is my go-to for sure is Flipgrid. It's an EdTech tool that can be used by any student. The features are easy for teachers to be able to actually understand, and they have ready-to-use resources for anyone. And anything that you can create can be translated to different languages. How cool is that?
Amazing. I couldn't agree more. Flipgrid has always been in my toolkit, and I absolutely love it. I think it's the perfect choice. Now, Rita, people are probably listening going, man, she's so inspirational. What is it that, you know, makes her tick? What's that one daily habit or practice that helps you enjoy, progress, and succeed in your career?
I think it's just being honest with myself. You know, as educators, sometimes we want to take on the world, right? Sometimes they call educators superheroes. But I think it's just in our DNA to just want to do more than one thing. And in all honesty, I wake up sometimes and I'm tired. You know, I've sometimes worked 12-hour days. And so just being honest and saying, okay, well, maybe I can't get through 12 hours of working today, but maybe I can do 2 things today that will have an impact on the rest of the week. So it's just being honest.
Yeah, I love that as well. You know, it's something that I think we all strive to do in the work we do. But, you know, like you said, as teachers, we push ourselves so hard and we do so much for so many people that sometimes we do need to take a step back. A couple of last questions here, Yaritza. If you were to have any job in the world, what would it be and why?
With my previous job, teaching, I've always wanted to teach. I was born in Panama, so my first language is actually Spanish. And when we came here in 1991, it was very difficult for my mom to assimilate to the American culture, but also to understand English. And so when I entered school, myself and my sister and my brother, you know, it was our duty to learn whatever the teacher was teaching, because we knew when we got home, we had to teach it to my mom. So I felt like at a young age, I was already, you know, in that role of teaching and showing and sharing. And so sitting in the classroom, it was always like, you know, this is my career. This is my goal. This is what I want to be. And then once I hit college, it was like I knew exactly what I needed to do in order to be a teacher. So it would definitely be being a teacher. I think that the pandemic has opened my eyes to having to reach other people. And so that's why I went into administration. And that's why my ultimate goal is to go into the district, because I realized that when you want to share strategies and resources, you can't just stay in one classroom. You have to make yourself, you know, available to everyone else.
Yeah, spot on. And one last thing, what's your favorite education-focused quote?
I would have to say education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. That's a quote by Nelson Mandela. And that's a quote that I believe we should all live by. Because if we just think about, even when we've had bad experiences in classrooms, we still didn't forget what was being taught. So for me, education is the most powerful weapon, of course. It's how we debate, it's how we communicate, it's how we discuss, how we feel. And it's really what makes this world spin.
Everyone listening here today, they want to learn more from you. They want to see what you do. What's the best way for them to follow and connect with you?
I'm on Instagram and Twitter, both at INC_YV. And if you have any questions, you can just DM me and I'll be sure to answer you.
Yaritza, thank you so much for your time today. Inspirational as always.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Next week, join me for episode 64 of the Ignite EdTech Podcast, when I'm joined by Andrew Mowat. One of the things I love doing is giving away prizes as a thank you for tuning in, listening, and hopefully following the Ignite EdTech Podcast. Last week, I gave away a seat in the EduSpark Professional Learning Portal, valued at $200 for 1 year of unlimited learning at EduSpark.World. To win, you needed to go to bit.ly/edtechwin. The winner has already been contacted directly by me, and it is Karen Ray. Congratulations, Karen. This week, I'm giving away another seat in the EduSpark Professional Learning Portal for 1 year of unlimited learning at EduSpark.World. To win this prize, you need to go to bit.ly/edtechwin and complete the simple form. It'll take you less than a minute to do. The link is in the description below. Competition closes on Wednesday the 15th of September, and the winner will be contacted directly by me and announced on next Friday's podcast episode. Good luck. If you enjoyed today's episode, please smash that follow button and share it with your colleagues, friends, and families. Please remember to spend 2 minutes to rate this podcast too, so we can reach even more people and EdTech enthusiasts globally. Please share your favorite part of today's episode by tagging us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, and don't hesitate to ask me questions that I can answer in an upcoming episode. Remember, you have the chance to win as well. Check out the links in the description for more, and I'll see you again next week.
If you liked today's episode, please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss another episode. And be in the drawing to win prizes every week. If you know others that would enjoy the show, please hit that share button and brighten their day. Join us again next week for your weekly EdTech hit with @Mr. Kemp NZ. We'll see you again soon.